It is the Mythical White Tiger type that specializes in tripping up foes where they least expect it or stopping them cold in their tracks. It is BYC00 Tundre, with a kit of Slip, Double Wave, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Captor, which buffs the heat stat of all equipped parts when attacking a target that cannot defend. Now this is actually not the first time that we've seen Tundre officially in Medarot S, as prior to this, she was actually an enemy-only NPC in very specific events long past. So she certainly is no stranger to the behaviors of how Medarot S plays, but this will be her official and grand debut into Medarot S as a gacha model that can be pulled by players. Slip is a shooting-based skill with a very unique behavior that, upon attacking a target and you catch them in heat phase, much like you would Bug or Virus for turn skipping, it will force them to turn around and begin their cooldown phase essentially right where they left off, running toward the line. So this also, much like Bug and Virus, can be used for turn skipping if timed correctly. In addition to this, Slip also is very well known for tripping up any shields that are in play, most notably if they are using Perfect Guard, which nullifies all blows, with the exception of Destroy, of course, unless it's a meta change type. Slip actually can trip them up and cancel Perfect Guard, which is a very surprising turn of events in how it plays. Wave on both arms is an ailment skill that, upon attacking a target, will debuff their heat and cool stat by about 25%, but also guarantee that any hit that lands while inflicted will be a guaranteed critical hit, because they are unable to defend. Now, the enemy is still capable of dodging attacks or grazing them, but if the hit lands, it's going to be immensely painful upon landing. Biped Legs means that Tundre will have very good mobility across most terrains, arguably the most well-rounded of all leg types. And with the leg mobility of 825, most certainly off to a very good start in the higher end of where Biped Legs want to be at. Melee resist of 1047 and a shoot resist of 868 aren't too shabby. Shoot resist I'd exercise some caution with when fighting those long-range targets, but kind of in that nice little mid-range of where you'd want to be with average damage reduction. A mobility of 970 isn't too shabby either, as she will have a pretty decent time dodging or grazing those low-success attacks, or a lot of blind swings that like to come in flying out of nowhere. Armor department isn't too shabby either, especially for female types such as her, with a hit HP of 3350, arms about 3000 each, and legs at 3500, rather healthy HP pool as one would kind of expect or figure for female types, so that does mean this White Tiger type can definitely hold her own moderately well before she gets hammered or clobbered too easily. Just as mentioned, exercise caution when fighting anyone of long-range caliber. Now, Tundre is also capable of meta change into a more tiger-like beast form, and in this form she exchanges her kit out entirely for a kit of Freeze, Stat Cleanse, Slash, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Blowbeat, which ignores a percentage of the enemy's resist stat when attacking. Now, while in normal robot mode she may focus more primarily on certain ailments and slowing the enemy down or even tripping him up, in this form Tundre instead focuses on stopping the enemy cold or even punishing them for getting up close in her space. Freeze is a negative ailment that, upon attacking a target, will stop them cold in their tracks, while also guaranteeing that any hit that lands is going to be painful with a guaranteed critical hit, and the hit on top of that is going to be guaranteed to land anyway, even if you're able to catch them before the effect wears off. Stat Cleanse is a healing-based skill that, upon use, will cleanse any negative debuffs of herself and allies, as well as negate them for a certain number of blows. And then Slash is another conventional melee skill that's more conditional of the group, that gets a damage bonus relative to how close the target is to you. Or in this case, if you can barely beat them to the center line, that just that extra hair of outrunning them guarantees it's going to be an immensely painful slash just for punishing them for not being fast enough. Whereas inversely, the farther away the target is, the less potent the attack is going to be. Blowbeat also means, with a leg ability, means that she will be dealing considerably more damage than what stats on paper may list, because she will be ignoring a percentage of the enemy's resist stat on their legs when attacking them. Now, between Freeze and Slash in meta change mode and Wave and Robot mode, it's very obvious and apparent that she's going to focus on tripping enemies up or slowing them down or stopping them cold, one or the other in many cases. But that does also leave a very notable weakness of anyone using Stat Cleanse. because she does not have something to remove it. So you may either have to brute force wear it off or wait for it to be removed by, say, effect clear or buff trap in order to make use of that. That being said, as a pure set score, I do honestly have to rate Tundre a pretty solid 7 out of 10. Given the fact that she is a very dedicated ailment fighter in this case, the most notable weakness that Tundre really has is anyone using Stat Cleanse, as I mentioned. But if Stat Cleanse is not evident on the enemy side, or if the enemy AI is a little on the dumber side and decides not to use it, Tundre can absolutely go wild and guarantee that all hits land will be critical hits, as well as keep debuffs off the enemies, keep the debuffs off her allied side in addition to this. As mixed parts score, I have to rate her just a little bit lower, actually at a 6 out of 10. Given that as mixed parts you will be sacrificing a good chunk of what makes Tundre a particular threat on the field, between freeze and slash in particular. That's not to say that slip or wave are bad ailments or things that you really shouldn't make use of, but you are sacrificing a good chunk of what makes Tundre worth using on the field if you do choose to use her as mixed parts. But in that instance, Slip most notably may be the most useful part on her in mixed parts, given that for its incredible ability to trip up even perfect guard and keep that off the enemy tail.